So this time I decided to make a wooden mat project. You know, I made one of these a few years ago. I used a different color scheme. I used kind of a red, white, and blue theme. I like the color scheme I picked this time too, though. It's a very simple project. I actually found the project plan out on Lowe's.com, and I'll be sure to include a link on my website at Woodlogger.com of where you can find this specific project plan. It consists of about 38 of these different blocks. They're tied together with a metal rod. And it's a really simple project. So if you're a beginner, I think you'll really like this one. So stick around for the video, watch how I did this. And if you haven't clicked subscribe yet on YouTube, be sure to do that too, as I put new videos out there from time to time. So to get started with my wooden mat project, I've got here a 1 by 2 by 8 foot strip of wood. And I've got about 5 of these is what it takes to make this. I'm sticking pretty closely to the plan. What's nice about this is that you can pick this kind of lumber up at any of the big box stores. I got this one at Lowe's. And also another thing that I got lucky on is that I'm going to cut these in 9-inch strips. And the distance between my blade and the end of the table is precisely 9 inches. So it makes it kind of nice because I don't have to actually install a stop block with a clamp. I don't have to really worry about that. But if your table length is different, you know, it's a pretty simple thing to do. You measure out your distance. Put a clamp on there, and then that way you'll make sure that you get consecutive or consistent cuts rather. In my case, I'm just going to plow through these, make sure that it's right flush with the end of the table, and I'll be able to cut it through. So I'm going to cut in total about 40 of these, and I'm going to work on that next. Okay, so I've got all my boards cut. Next up, I'm going to use my drill press to drill holes into each ends of these slats. Ultimately, these holes is where the metal rod will go through that will hold this whole thing together. I'm going to set the holes in about 1 1/8 of an inch in from each side, centering it, and I'm going to use a 5/16 spade bit to drill my holes. But you can certainly use just a regular drill press bit as well. So I'm going to work on that next. Okay, so I've got all my boards cut now. I've got the holes drilled on each end. And I've got these metal rods, and these rods are what will hold the whole project together. They're about 2 feet in length, and they're 1/4 inch diameter rods. And what I will do next is I'll use these. I also have these stop nuts, these 1/4 inch stop nuts. That will go like that. And then these will sort of slide on. I'm going to stagger these in kind of a stagger pattern to make that look good. So next up, I think I'll do maybe kind of a rough fit up just to kind of make sure it looks the way I think it's going to look. And also I'll paint these, and then I'll be ready for final assembly after that. All right, I've got all my boards painted. I think they turned out pretty good. I've got a red, green, and blue patterns of colors that I decided to choose. And I used this spray-on Rust-Oleum satin enamel. It's an outdoor rated paint, so I thought I'd give that a shot. Next up, I'm going to load these on my rods and kind of zigzag them so that they're staggered out and kind of create a pattern. I'm going to work on that next. Okay, so I've got my layout pretty much done. I've got all my rods installed the way that I want it. Next up, on the ends of the boards, I'm going to have a little bit of the rod that's left over. In my case, I'm going to use a Dremel to trim that off, and then I'll put another stop nut on the other end. You could certainly use a hacksaw if you have that. I've done that before in the past. Dremels just make it go a little bit faster. So next up, I'm going to work on trimming the ends off, putting the stop nuts on all of these, and then I should be done. All right, so I just got done putting the last stop nut on my mid rod right here. I actually left this one just a little loose so that I could bend this over if I ever wanted to. This one's actually going to go out on my front porch. So anyways, if you make one of these, I'd love to see how yours turned out. You can upload a picture out at facebook.com/woodlogger. And be sure to check out my website at woodlogger.com, where I'll post more detailed information about this project and other projects I have going on in my shop.